Welcome to the next lecture of energy conservation and audit. During the last lecture, we have started with unit number 1, that is energy conservation basics, in which we have learned about what is the energy scenario today at a global level. Then we have seen what are the different kinds of energies are there, in which there are primary, secondary type of energy, renewable, non-renewable type of energy, and commercial and non-commercial types of energy in detail. The further concept in today's lecture, what we are going to learn is about energy demand and supply. So, what is energy demand? As said here, energy demand is the term used to describe the consumption of energy by human activity. It drives the whole energy system, influencing the total amount of energy used, the location of and the types of fuel used in the energy supply system, and the characteristics of the end-use technologies that consumes the energy. Okay, so what energy demand means? As said, energy demand is what we can say is the consumption of energy by human activities. Means in our day-to-day life, whatever energy that we are utilizing for our regular activities, that can be considered as a demand of energy. Now, here, in this case, as a part of energy demand, as a whole, we also include what and different types of energy that we are using, at what location we are using, what are the different characteristics are there of the end user, and the different technologies that are being used to consume energy. Everything gets included as a part of a energy demand. Now, if that is energy demand, the concept what comes in picture is energy supply. So, what is energy supply? As said here, energy supply is the delivery of fuels or transformed fuels to the point of consumption. It potentially encompasses the extraction, transmission, generation, distribution, and storage of fuels. It is also sometimes called energy flow. So, demand is what is the energy that we are utilizing or consuming at our end. And what is supply? Energy supply is one which is nothing but the delivery of that particular fuel which is required for that production of energy. So, it also includes whatever things that are required for the fuels, as extraction of fuels, then transmission, generation, distribution, storage, etc. Everything that it gets included, which is concerned to the supply, is taken under the consideration as energy supply. And this energy supply is sometimes also said to be as a energy flow. Okay, now after this, the next point what we are going to learn is the national scenario, that is India's global energy scenario. So what has been said here, as our nation India has a huge amount of coal reserves, up to 60,000 per million tons. This is sufficient for our country up to further about 200 to 220 years. Now, if compared with the other countries in the world, it is just 6 to 7% of the total world's reserve. How long this reserve will be available is indicated by a ratio of reserves to the production. In the world, our country stands 4th in the producer of coal and ignite. The coal mines are in the different parts of our country, namely they are in Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Orissa, West Bengal, Jharkhand, etc. The other countries in the world which have the largest crude reserves are China, US and Russia. As oil is concerned, in the current scenario, total world's crude oil reserves are 1,500 billion barrels, that is calculated up to 2017 only. Now, the world's crude natural gas reserves are 185 trillion cubic meters, and in rising use of coal, India's CO2 emission is 5.5% of the world's emission. Okay, so this gives the data of a national scenario in concepts with respect to that of the whole world. Now, as you see here, in our India, whatever coal reserves we have, that is said to be as 60,000 million tons. Now, actually, whatever coal reserves we have right now, we can make a use of these coal reserves for the further about 200 to 220 years. Now, even though if it finds out to be a more nowadays, actually, when we compare it with the actual world reserves of the coal, we found that it is just 6 to 7% only with respect to the world reserve. Now, this particular coal, whatever we have, or reserves what we have, how long we can have and use this particular coal, that can be indicated by a ratio. Simply, that ratio is the ratio of reserves to the production. Now, in the world, it has been said that our country, India, is the fourth in the production of coal and ignite. Now, whatever coal mines that are present in our country are located at various different states like Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, and Jharkhand. So, these are what the states where the coal mines are available. Further, it has been said that the other countries, okay, which are having a largest reserves for the coal are China, US, Russia, etc. Now, that is all about the coal. Further, one more fuel what we are using is oil. And if oil is concerned, the total world's reserves up to 2007, it has been calculated to be as 1,500 billion barrels. Okay, and one more fuel what we call as a natural gas reserves, if you compare with it, then it is 185 trillion cubic meters that is present today. Now, even though this is true, one concept what we have to take care is the pollution, and that is, it has been said that in the rising use of the coal, India's CO2 emission is 5.5% of the world's emission. Okay, so that describes the overall national scenario, that is India's global energy scenario with respect to the world. Okay, now let us now learn about what is energy conservation and what is energy audit, what are these two different concepts and how they are different from one another. Okay, so what we are going to learn now is energy conservation and energy audit concepts and difference. Let us first learn what is energy conservation. So, as said here, energy conservation is an effort made to reduce the consumption of energy by using less of an energy service. This can be achieved either by using energy more efficiently or by reducing the amount of service used. Okay, so what we say here, energy conservation. What actually energy conservation is? This energy conservation is nothing but a act what we are going to do so as to reduce the overall consumption of energy in our day-to-day life. Now, how to reduce that energy consumption? By using less of the energy services. Now, whatever energy services we are using in our day-to-day life, we have to manage ourselves such that these energy services are used more efficiently, okay, or we can reduce the amount of energy services that we are using in our day-to-day life. When these are being done, that means if we are using the energy efficiently and if we are reducing the amount of energy services that we are using, then we can achieve the energy conservation. Okay, what is further said? Energy conservation reduces the need for energy services and can result in increased environmental quality, national security, personal financial security, and higher savings. Energy can be conserved by reducing wastage and losses, improving efficiency through technological upgrades, and improved operation and maintenance. On a global level, energy use can also be reduced by the stabilization of population growth. In the case of fossil fuels, The conservation also can include finding new ways to tap into the world's supply so that the commonly used oil fields are not drained completely. The goal with energy conservation techniques is to reduce the demand, protect and replenish supplies, develop and use alternative energy sources. So, in all, here we find the benefits of energy conservation. So, what we can say, if we are doing the energy conservation, what will happen, what benefits we are going to get? The benefits what we'll get is that increased environmental quality, because here when we are using the energy wisely, we are conserving the energy, obviously we are utilizing less fuel. That utilization of less fuel will create less pollution and overall quality of the environment will increase. Further, as been said, it will improve and increase the national security, personal finance security, and it will result in the higher savings. So, energy conservation ultimately will result in the savings. It is also said that how to conserve the energy by reducing the wastage and losses. You can reduce the wastage, you can reduce the losses that are taking place, and if you are improving the efficiency with the help of technological upgrades and improved operation and maintenance, then by improving the efficiency, we can conserve the energy. As said further, what we can say is that on a global level, energy use can also be reduced by stabilization of population growth. Means if the growth of population is stabilized and the per capita consumption of energy will reduce, and obviously it will conserve the energy. Further, what we can say is that in the case of fossil fuels, the conservation also can include finding of the new ways to tap into the earth's supply so that the commonly used oil fields are not drained completely. Okay, so it will further say that the goal with energy conservation technique is to reduce the demand, protect and replenish the supplies, develop and use the alternative energy sources. So, when we are adopting certain measures such that overall when we reduce the demand and if we develop more and more usage of the alternative energy sources like renewable sources, obviously whatever fossil fuels that are being used will be reduced and overall energy conservation aim can be satisfied. Okay, so that's what is we call as a energy conservation. Okay, so in short, as a summary, what we can say, energy conservation is an effort made to reduce the consumption of energy by using less of an energy services, and this can be achieved either by using energy more efficiently or by reducing the amount of services used. Okay, so that describes what is energy conservation. Now, let us see what is the need of energy conservation. Okay, why we need to conserve the energy. So, as said here, following are the reasons for which energy conservation becomes more important in day-to-day life. So, what are the reasons? First reason, as said here, the gap between demand and the supply of energy is increasing day by day due to increased usage of electricity, due to increase in population, standard of living, industries, transports, etc. So, what is happening? Why we have to conserve the energy? Why? Because the gap between the demand and supply is increasing. The supply of the energy is up to a particular mark, it is limited. But whatever demand of the energy is there, that is increasing in a day-to-day life. Why? Because of there is an increase in population, the standard of living has been changed, the number of industries has got increased, and the transportation, etc. Whatever things that are being available right now, they are demanding more energy and the gap is increasing. So, when we are going to do energy conservation, when energy conservation is achieved, this gap will minimize. Okay. The next reason what has been said here is the energy reserves of a fossil fuels, that is coal, oil and gas, are depleting at a fast rate. The increase in demand of the energy and depleting energy sources all over the world is resulting into inflation. So, what we are using nowadays is a fossil fuels like coal, we are using oil, gas, etc. we are using. Now, if you are using it daily, obviously the amount of energy reserves of these coal, oil, gas, etc. are depleting the fast rate. Okay, so if you are increasing the demand, what will happen? The overall inflation is increasing. Why? Because we are using more and more of these fossil fuels. So if we do conserve the energy at that time, obviously the amount of fossil fuels required will be lesser, and then accordingly less fossil fuels will be used and we can limit the inflation. So that is one of the reasons why energy conservation is required. As said further, the third reason is if the available resources are wasted without paying attention towards energy conservation, we will run out of renewable energy to use. Means what? Here, suppose if we have whatever resources that are available, coal, oil, natural gas, etc. If we use it and if we waste it without paying attention on the energy conservation, one thing will happen that these resources will finish and we will left out with only one of the source, and what we call it as renewable energy source only. Okay, hence we have to carefully use the available resources. The fourth reason what is being said here is the increase in cost of energy is affecting individual, social and national life, at the same time economy of the nation. So when we are not using the particular energy wisely and efficiently, if we won't conserve the energy, the overall cost of energy will obviously increase and it will affect the individual, social and the national life, and at the same time the overall economy of the nation will also get disturbed. And so as to maintain all these things, we have to conserve the energy. The next point what is being said here is the less use of energy gives more benefits in terms of incentives. So when you are going to do the energy conservation, obviously by some means of incentives we are going to get benefited. So energy conservation is to be done. And finally we can say the per capita energy consumption in India is very low as compared to that in the advanced countries. So whatever energy that is being used by per person in India, that is very low if you compare it with the advanced countries. So when the energy conservation is being done, the overall availability of the energy to the different areas will be more, and accordingly what we can say is everyone in the country will be with the self-sufficient of the energy. Okay, so these are the reasons why we have to conserve the energy, that is energy conservation is a need. Hence it has been said that for the energy saving is essential in developed as well as developing countries. The energy saving or conservation plan should eliminate wastage of energy without affecting the productivity and growth rate. So here due to these all reasons, the energy saving and energy conservation is very important and essential in both the developed as well as developing countries, and this energy conservation or saving should be planned properly by eliminating the wastage of energy without affecting the overall productivity and the growth rate of the country. Okay, so that's what we say is the need of energy conservation. So with that particular point, let us conclude the today's lecture here itself. Thank you very much.